Hey there everyone, I'm Michael and welcome to another video. I'm recording this just after uploading the last video I made on Socially Distant being ported to Unity, but I'm scheduling this to go up on Friday night because I can do that. In this video I want to talk to you guys a little bit more about the Thundershock side of things and why we decided to port to Unity. The short answer is, well, both Restitched, like I said in the previous video. Restitched was a big influence. Using Unity for that made me fall in love with Unity. But the second reason is that developing a game engine and maintaining a game engine and teaching other people how to work with that game engine is an incredibly tedious, time-consuming task that requires a lot of dedication and a lot of energy and a lot of patience. And unfortunately, when you do that, you're not going to really find much talent because that talent suddenly needs to relearn this entire new game engine that never existed until you wrote it, which is never ideal. So that is another reason why I decided to go to Unity, because people know Unity. People don't know Thundershock. People know how to code in C# for Unity. People don't know how to code in C# for Thundershock. Give me a moment while I plug in my headset. And while I plug in my headset, what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to actually walk you guys through creating a Thundershock project. And actually explaining the tedium that is creating a Thundershock project. So let's do this. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go over to my E drive. It's my second NVMe drive that used to be used for my Linux drive, but I'm no longer running Linux because reasons. I might actually reverse that decision when Windows 11 comes out and some bugs get fixed. Anyway, what we're then going to do is we're going to actually create a new folder. Not Trixel Creative. That's because there's a folder in here called Trixel Creative. So we're going to go into not Trixel Creative, and this is where we're going to create our game. Now, what are we going to call our game? Really, it doesn't matter. This is just going to be a Hello Thundershock project. But I'm going to call this game, Stitched. Alright? Stitched. Okay, that's the name of the game. Yeah, we're going to go with that. So welcome to Stitched. It's our discount cheapo Walmart knockoff Restitched by not Trixel Creative. Anyway, so now we need to create a project, but what do? Well, I'm the developer of the engine, so luckily I know. It's kind of annoying, and it's possible, but really you don't want to be doing it when you could be developing the game. So the first thing that we actually need to do is create a Git repository. Git init. That creates a Git repository. Simple enough. Next, we need to ignore the weird update. Okay, that's good to know. Windows 11 is doing updates in the background. I'm going to go ahead and dismiss that. Go away. You can wait. I'm doing a video. Anyway, inside Stitched, we need a game engine. We need Thundershock. So we're going to create a folder called, or actually we're not going to create a folder. We created a Git repository. What we need to do is get Thundershock with it, or as a submodule. So we do that with git submodule and https github.com Thundershock Alliance Thundershock. Now that repository is archived, so this might not work, but we'll see. Okay, it does. I just have really, really fast internet. So that's cool. We now have a folder in here called Thundershock. And there's the code. So that's Thundershock. Great. So we have our game engine. Now we need to tie our game engine to our game. Okay, so we're going to create a source folder, src. And inside src, we're going to go ahead and create a new .NET solution, which is simple to do. .NET new SLN. Now it's called src.sln, but we're creating a game called Stitch, so we're going to rename that to stitched.sln. And then we're going to create a folder called Stitched inside of src. And go into that folder and create a new console. using .NET New Console. This is a console application. Alright, so now let's go ahead and add Stitch, the console application, to Stitch, the solution. .NET SLN add Stitch. Great. Now we need to add Thundershock, but there are 3 projects that we need to add. We need to add Thundershock.core, which is the core code base of Thundershock. We need to add Thundershock, which is the game framework, and we need to add Thundershock.OpenGL, which is the OpenGL implementation of the core. Now you can probably see why this is starting to get tedious, because now we've suddenly added 4 .NET projects to our solution, and created a Git repository, and added a submodule. Yeah. Anyway, to do this, we're gonna do .NET SLN add. We're gonna go up one directory. We're gonna type Thundershock. We're gonna go into the source directory and do Thundershock. Whoops, I made a typo back there. Thundershock.core. And there's the core. Now we're gonna do OpenGL. And there's OpenGL. And there's the game framework. So that's good. We can clear. So now we need to open it in an IDE. I'm going to use Visual Studio because it's easy. So we're going to go stitch.sln. That's going to open in Visual Studio, which I actually have activated for once. I use Rider as my main IDE, but, you know, why not? Why not use VS 2019? Even though it takes 14 years to load a basic Hello World program. Anyway, we have our 4 projects. We have Stitch, we have Thundershock, we have Thundershock.core, and we have Thundershock.OpenGL. We need to right-click on Stitch and add a reference. How do you add a reference? I never remember how to do it in Visual Studio because, again, I use Riders. We're going to do add project reference, and we're going to select Thundershock. That's going to bring in everything. So we're going to hit OK, and hopefully how it builds. Build started. And okay, so it built. Okay, great, awesome. So now we're going to go into the program, and we're going to do a few things. First of all, we're going to make sure that we are using both Thundershock and Thundershock.core. And we're going to get rid of this console.write line here. Don't need it. And what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to create an app. Now, an app in Thundershock can be one of 3 things. It can be a new game app, it can be a graphical app, or it can be a console app. And those give you access to the rest of the game framework. Console apps, of course, run in the console and thus don't have any graphics. Graphical apps have graphics. And game apps have the game framework, or rather the game layer system. So we're going to create a game, so we're going to go ahead and create a stitched app. Inherit from game application. That's what it's called now. I'm glad I remember that. Anyway, there's game application. And what we're going to go ahead and do is make sure that that game application runs by doing entry point .run game application and passing in command line arguments. Oh, we're dumb. We tried to run an abstract class as an application. We wanted to run the stitched app. There we go. Little oversight there fixed. Now we have an application so we can run the game. Now, I'm not going to run it because there's a bug in the engine where if you run a game without a config file, it defaults to 640 by 480 hardware full screen mode and completely screws with my OBS and sometimes has a tendency to crash my entire graphics card and my computer. So what we're going to go ahead and do is go into Windows Terminal. We're going to go App Data. We're going to go Roaming. We're going to create a new folder called Stitch. Go into that folder and create another folder called Stitch. Stitched. Now we're going to go ahead and create a config.json. And we're gonna make sure that is full screen is set to false. And we're gonna save. We're gonna exit. And then we're gonna run. And the idea here is that we get a window. Oh look! It didn't work! Wonder why. Excuse me for a moment. I don't know if you can hear me, but my screen went black. Alright, well that config file should have been written. Great. Thank you, Visual Studio. So that's an issue. Now we need to go back into Windows Terminal. App data. Roaming. Stitched. Let's see what's there. We have the config.json. Okay. Alright. They're there too. Oh, because I created confiz.json. Okay, well, go into config.json. And inside here, we're going to set resolution to 1600 by 900. And is full screen false. Great. Run the game. This is something we should not have had to do, but we did have to do it. Anyway, there's the game. Okay, black screen. Cool. What do we do with that? We want to make it blue, or maybe orange, or some color. Maybe display a discount Trixel Creative logo. Okay, great. Let's actually do that. Okay, so how do we display a Trixel Creative logo? How do we display a blue Trixel Creative? We're gonna go ahead and, you know, not Thundershock, we want to go stitched, and we're going to add that file. So add existing item. I have to be very careful because I have some copyrighted images in here. Don't tell anybody. Okay, that's great. It's not showing image files. That's weird. Okay, well now it's about to. bluetrixel.png. We're going to make this logo display on screen, okay? So we have bluetrixel.png. The next thing that we need to do is make sure that it copies. Copy always to the build output. And now we need to create a scene. So a scene in Thundershock is exactly what it is in Unity. It's a level. But we need to do it in code because it's Thundershock and it's stupid. Anyway, we're going to go public class stitched scene. We're going to inherit from, and inside of our app we're going to inherit from onload. And inside onload we're going to do load scene stitched scene. Great. Okay, and inside stitch scene, we're going to, first of all, we're going to move that to its own file. And we're also going to move stitched app to its own file. Visual Studio's credit, I'm glad that it doesn't automatically switch me over to the file. Writer does, and I find that very annoying. Anyway, now we need to figure out how to create the scene and how to get it displaying the discount Walmart Trixel Creative logo. Okay, well, let's start by doing it on load. And what we need to do is we need to set the primary camera settings. So the first thing that we need to do is set the projection mode to orthographic. It should be orthographic by default, but I'm Michael and I have the tendency to freaking break that. It's happened before, and it'll happen again, except no it won't, because I'm not developing the game engine anymore. You can tell how how annoyed I am at this, but anyway, we're going to do orthographic, and that overrides the default. Now, of course, it's not exactly handy to have this, you know, saying Thundershock.rendering, but, you know, whatever. I'm going to get rid of that, and then I'm going to do our usual namespaces here, so using Thundershock.core, we're going to need that. We're going to use Thundershock.rendering, and system.io. We're gonna need that. So we've set the orthographic camera mode. We're gonna set the sky color, which sets the background color. Okay, this is handy. Color from HTML, 1BAAF7, which is my sort of peaceful color. And great. It's a blue window. Awesome. We're getting fervor. No Trixel Creative logo yet, though. Okay, well, let's go ahead and fix that. So, of course, we need a sprite of some sort, so we're going to create a sprite. If you've seen the Pong video, then you know exactly what this is, what we're about to be doing. Trixel sprite. We're going to right-click on that, and using Thundershock.components. There we go. And then, of course, it's a 2D object, so transform 2D. And we're going to do Trixel transform. Okay, and then we need to marry these together using an entity, so we're going to spawn that entity. Trixel entity equals... Also, you'll notice that I've dropped the underscore because it's my Unity coding practice now that components don't have the underscore in front of them. So that's funny. Anyway, we're going to do registry.create. Great. So that creates the Trixel entity. Now we're going to do registry.add component to the Trixel entity. And we're going to add the Trixel transform. I'm honestly kind of feeling awful for Trixel Creative because I'm kind of using their name in vain in this shitty game engine. I'm going to show this to Halston and I'm going to see if he laughs at it. Anyway, registry.add component, Trixel entity, and we're going to add the sprite. And, okay. Run. And... why has it crashed? It has crashed because I didn't initialize those fields. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna stop that and get out of there. To fix that, we just need to do equals new. I'm used to Unity where we have things like, you know, get component and, you know, sane game engine programming APIs. Anyway, we're going to run that, and, you know, there is nothing on screen except for a white dot. Okay, so we're getting close. Now we need to figure out how to load that texture, and that's very annoying to do. So first of all, we need a reference to that texture. Sheepo Trixel. That's what I'm going to call it. And where's texture 2D? I'm using Thundershock core rendering. Why is there a Thundershock.rendering and why is there a Thundershock core rendering? What's the difference? One's low level and one's high level. That's the difference. Anyway, from here, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to need system.io. We're going to open that stream. So using var stream equals file.openRead, excuse the dog noise. And we're gonna do blue trixel.png. Okay, so we have the blue Trixel. Now we're gonna go ahead and do sheepo Trixel equals texture2d.fromStream. And we're gonna pass in GamePlatform.graphics, which gets you the GPU, and then we're gonna give it the Trixel stream. Wait, what? Where's the stream? Oh, I just called it stream, okay. And that loads the texture in, and then with the stream done and dealt with, and the texture loaded, we can go ahead and do Trixel sprite the texture equals sheepo Trixel, and I don't see it anywhere. That's great. It's probably there. It's probably really small too. Okay, so that's great. So what we're gonna do to fix that is Trixel sprite dot width dot size equals new vector 2, and then we're gonna do let's do 512 by 512. I made this from their Discord logo. The game should have automatically... There we go! Okay, so we have a blue background and a Hippo Walmart not Trixel Creative logo because it's blue. That took way too long, okay? That is why Thundershock is very annoying to use, that's why nobody knows how to use it, that's why I don't make tutorials on it, and that is why it's no longer in development. I've been Michael, as always. Hope you enjoyed the video, hope you learned something, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Fucking hell.